A congregational meeting, so I ask that you stay and appreciate you guys staying here. As always, we as the council ask that you give us input, whether that's face-to-face, email, phone call, talk to pastor some way, somehow. Let us know your thoughts, give us your input, that you are very helpful in doing that, that it's not just us, it's all of us as a congregation. So please, as always, feel free to let us know what your thoughts are. We've got many key issues this morning. I won't steal anyone's thunder that's going to talk about those specific issues. And as I said, your reward for sitting through this is you get to go eat some chili afterwards that looks and smells delicious. So without further delay, I'll ask Russ, come up, please.
Good morning, and glad you're all here. We've got a few programs in the wind, starting with today. We've got almost a dozen different kind of chilies, and I hope you all got some kind of appetite because there's plenty there. Basically, we're working on a calendar of events. It's found on our website. Our website has grown due to a major contributor from the church has done an awesome job of bringing it up to date. Yeah, I'm talking about you. Please visit this site, and you can see what's new and hey, all right. I'm not much one for public speaking, so bear with me. Basically, it gives everybody an overview of everything, our resources, our schedule, basically what's happening, anything that you need to know. Please visit this site and like it, because every time you like it, it follows along to the people that you're friends with, and it gives them a better view of what we are and what we're about. You're not doing it. I'm not. All right.
It's not necessarily to stay here, just so you guys can take us through all this. And you can hardly read that. I guess I can, but you can tell. So that link will go out in Monday's email, where you can see what is proposed. Not all of it is still 19, and we would like to build your into it. We receive great things for the strengths and weaknesses, and also for the vision statement. Please do keep those coming in. We'd like to have something back to you by the end of the month.
Next up, Christmas for kids we had a good crowd. Pastor, we didn't have any pictures that really got set up.
And I'll take over here for John, who was not able to be with us this morning. We will continue on with the 19-minute Bible studies. That the attendance for that has been good. That Pastor always jokes that he kind of locks the door and we're stuck in here. So that is still going on. The ladies group is still meeting, from my understanding, averaging 10 or so souls, give or take, depending on the night. And as far as we know, they're still studying boundaries. Special services coming up. Just take note of these, that they'll be in the bulletin, they'll be on the website, but just to kind of plan ahead or so you know what's going on, you can read that we've got Ash Wednesday coming up with the soup supper before that, a work day. I'm sure Ed will be mentioning that as he comes up and does his presentation. Easter's not that far down the road, so of course we have Good Friday and Easter, and my personal favorite, Salsa Sunday. Mark your calendars, bring some chips. Congregational meeting, again, I guess we reward you here. There's a trend that we keep you a little bit longer, but then we feed you. So that'll happen, hopefully, too, if all goes well on May 3rd. We'll keep you here, but then we'll feed you. And then also Confirmation Sunday is at the end of May. The men's luncheon continues. Do note the change of day, though. It was Tuesdays, but now they are switching over to Wednesdays. And the next time that will occur will be February 18th, 11:30, and watch the bulletin for the site. Scott. I'll be Scott now. Sunday school is still going well, that it is a combined class, and so I know, teaching it, seems like there's a big gap between when you have to teach, but the kids are back there learning a lot, having a good time, and so that is continuing. Upcoming event for the youth is the 13th, Friday the 13th, the lock-in, and so if you're willing and have a desire to spend Friday the 13th with a bunch of kids here locked in the church, I'm sure Scott wouldn't mind that, but that's going on in February. And Ed.
We're going to have a Bible study on the occult.
Part of my responsibility is, again, taking care of the properties, and one of the tasks at hand was to try to come up with some new values for replacing the mechanical units. And for general knowledge, we have 2 mechanical units right now that we have heat only. So the only 2 mechanical units that work are actually here in the sanctuary. So part of the refinancing, we're trying to roll some of the money into replacing all 4 units. We currently have 1 proposal in hand and working on other proposals to come up with the best number that we have possible. So again, the slide tells you kind of what's happening. The fellowship hall and the church office areas have heat only, but the sanctuary has heat and cooling. Next slide, please. Okay. As mentioned, we have a workday scheduled coming up, which we're going to, there we go. Our normal tasks that we do for workday, which is grounds inside and out, we're going to take on a little bigger project in the springtime, which is the shrubs that are lining the church property at the front road and the signs. We're going to take all those out and come up with a different look in the front part of the church, plus rework our flower beds. And then the interior stuff is, again, cleaning, as we try to do on a quarterly basis, if possible. Again, if there's any special tasks that anybody would like to volunteer for, let me know. I'll reserve that for you. And the last bullet point, again, in the event that your name comes up for the cleaning schedule and you're not able to do it at the assigned time, feel free to try to switch up with somebody else. And in addition to that, if there's anything short in terms of cleaning materials, you can put a note in my mailbox is good, or call me. Most everybody has my phone number, but that way we keep enough supplies here in the church as needed. That should be it for me. Okay. Reg.
You sure? Good morning. My name is Reg Fowler. I'm the church elder. Just attendance, I looked this morning, we're at 65. I think we've held pretty steady over the last 5 years or so, but it's certainly nice to see everyone. I know that you don't see me every Sunday. I'm a physician and I work on average every other week at the hospital, in case you're wondering where I am on those other Sundays. I guess you can see here the number of communicants and baptized there. I think that's probably it.
Thank you. I'm Tom Clarkson, treasurer, taking over for Roland, who's done a fantastic job for us. So we'll hope I can live up to that great work that he did. First off, in terms of December results, they were very good. We had $13,000 in income versus a budget of about $8,000. expenses were pretty much in line. So that means we had a nice income for the month of December. And that's primarily due to the better results. We benefited from a special gift from a non-member in the amount of $5,000, which helped a lot. Next slide. That helped the year results, which basically meant with the strong December, we were able to be cash flow positive for the year with a net income of about $1,158 versus a projected budget of about a loss of $25,000. So given the nice special gifts that were made and the stronger contribution from members, we were able to not incur that loss, which we thank God for, which is a wonderful thing. So we ended the year very nicely. So next slide. Now, the upcoming budget, looking at the trends, and since you can't really budget for special gifts and things of that sort of happening, we do show a loss coming for the upcoming year. Now, if you look at the next slide, though, there are some things that we can do about that. So what might be our keys to success to have another break-even or better year? Some things that we can do are continued strong giving by members. It's been wonderful what everybody's done, so if we can keep that up, that's very helpful. A successful outreach program, which is being planned on part of the ministry work, planning work that you've heard about already. Bringing in new members of the church, of course, is helpful. And then very tight expense management. You know, we try to watch our pennies around here, and we need to keep doing that on an ongoing basis, so that will help as well. And then the last thing that I'm going to talk more about is a mortgage refinancing to assist with what's known as deferred maintenance. As you know, we've heard from Ed in different congregational meetings that we have some expenses and things that we'd like to do, but we don't have money for, and so those are maintenance on the facility that have been deferred. And we see a way to potentially help with one of the big ones, which is the heating and air conditioning. So next slide, please. So in contacting a group called the Church Extension Fund, which is part of Wells, we found that we could have an opportunity to refinance the mortgage on the church. So the Church Extension Fund is actually an interesting thing. It's a pool of money run by Wells, if you're not familiar with it, that loans money to churches so that they can buy churches, expand, and make capital improvements and things like that. It's actually rather interesting. You can, in fact, invest in the Church Extension Fund if you're interested. If you're interested in that, let me know, and I can show you the information that they send. But anyway, they hold our mortgage. They're very helpful people. They want us to succeed. And over the past couple months, we've been in dialogue with them about some things that we could do. One of the notable things is, and you've probably seen this in the papers, is lower interest rates are now available for mortgages. So we can become a beneficiary of that, both due to the lower interest rate conditions and the fact that the Wells Group would like to help out our congregation in particular due to some of the things that we have going on. So what we discovered is if we extend the duration of the loan by about 5 years, and we can keep the payments that we make about the same and raise the amount of money that we're financing through this and get some cash to replace the heating, ventilating, and air conditioning. So that's a good thing because that's about a $65,000 plus or minus, and Ed's still getting the quotes in, expenditure, which would be very hard for us to come up with just by asking for a special contribution one Sunday. I think you'd agree. So this seems like maybe a pretty good way to address that problem. And we want to keep our facility in good order so that we can continue to move along. And the CEF people, or the Church Extension Fund, also like to see that because since you can think of it, they own this church with us in a certain sense. They like to see the underlying asset in good working order as well. So there are a lot of reasons to do this. So we're working with them on the exact numbers. We think that we'll have that finalized in the next 2 or 3 weeks. To do this, we'll need a specific congregational vote, which we propose to have on February 8th. where we hope we'll have a lot of the details available. And if we don't have the precise numbers, we'd like to get approval to have a not to exceed number so that we can move forward with the church extension fund. We'd like to also hear from anybody that has any issues with this or wants to discuss it further ahead of that vote so that we can talk about it. That said, our council does recommend we do this because this looks like a pretty clear way to help with some of the tough challenges we have on facilities maintenance ahead of us. And then lastly, we'll need to have the ministry plan that we're working on needs to be complete in its initial form, not its final form, for us to make the refinancing submission, which we're hoping to do about mid-February. If we don't quite pull all the paperwork together, we'll shoot for the next month. Are there any questions about this? Yes, Roland.
So I don't know if there's a way to do this or not. If there is, try to get it extending the current term for beyond 5 years. What they tend to do is raise the interest rate every 5 years.
That's a good suggestion. In terms of residential mortgages, I think what Roland is talking about is we essentially have something kind of like an ARM, an adjustable rate mortgage under certain terms, so it could go up or float. Most people think interest rates will float up, so that's a really good thing that we should try to negotiate for and see if we can either get a longer term or a cap of the rate. I think that's a good suggestion. Any other comments or questions about that? Okay, that's it for my section. Look forward to a vote on the 8th. Thank you.
Thank you once again, and I'll open up the floor if there are any questions or comments. And even if not now, please approach us with anything you might have. Let me plug again all the changes to the website. Follow on Facebook, Twitter. Check that out, get those numbers up, and a lot of good things are happening there. So do check those things out. Yes. Okay. Anything else? Thank you for staying. Pastor, do you want to lead us in the common table prayer as we anticipate you?
Sure. We pray. Heavenly Father, we praise you for your goodness in 2014. We marvel at your mercy. In 2015, we have a lot of things ahead of us, and we ask your blessing as we plan to do your work. Bless the food that we are about to eat. We join in the common table prayers. Come, Lord Jesus, be our guest, and let these gifts to us be blessed. O give thanks unto the Lord, for he is good, for his mercy endures forever.